Democracy isn't a magic wand, it's a tool, and if the person using it is uneducated or manipulated, they're going to hurt themselves. It's not useless, but it's definitely not the gold standard we've been told it is. A democracy is only as good as its ingredients. Number 1, is the majority educated enough to understand economics, basic law, and simple logic? Number 2, is the media free? Are they providing facts or just controlled propaganda? Number 3, is there critical thinking or just emotional tribalism? And finally, do voters have economic skin in the game, or are they just voting to spend other people's money? When these fail, democracy becomes a race to the bottom. Imagine a country with 100 monkeys and 10 humans. Who will the majority vote between 10 kilograms of bananas or 10 kilograms of gold? The humans know the gold can feed everyone for life. The monkeys just want food. 100 to 10, the monkeys will win. They eat for a day and stay poor forever. That's the flaw. Quantity over quality. In any successful nation, it's a simple reality. Smart people must convince the majority and other elites that they are the only ones capable of making everyone better off. Governance isn't a right, it's a management contract. If the leaders deliver prosperity, safety, and growth, the system holds. But if they fail, if they prioritize their own power over the people's progress, that's when the monkeys stop listening and overthrow them by force. Let's be honest, a perfectly fair, perfectly informed, and perfectly unbiased election has never taken place. It's a myth. As the number of elections increases, so do the dirty tricks. We see it everywhere. Controlled media, educational systems designed to make people stupid on purpose, and the blatant abuse of power to tilt the playing field. When a system spends more energy on winning the next poll than on building the next generation, it's not a democracy anymore. It's a scam. Stop looking at the ballot box. Start looking at the output. If you look at many of the countries that pride themselves as being democratic, look at how they are doing now. Take a look at Taiwan, often hailed as a vibrant democracy, but it is becoming more of a joke as days go by. First, the media. It is a documented concern that nearly 90% of Taiwanese media is influenced or funded by the government in some capacity, effectively turning news into state-sponsored propaganda. While it's a fact that 90% of Taiwanese recognize disinformation as a massive problem, the irony is that many don't realize they've been misinformed for decades, especially regarding the constitutional reality that Taiwan remains part of China under the ROC constitution. Second, the political crackdown. We've seen the government use legal forces to lock up key opposition leaders and silence critical voices. Many of these cases have shown that the accusations were largely fabricated to clear the political field. Finally, let's talk about the quality of the electorate. Despite high test scores, many critics argue the population is lowly educated in political reality, easily swayed by emotional tribalism. This has led to unscientific populist policy directions that have allowed mainland China to leapfrog them in critical technological advancements. When ideology replaces engineering, you lose the race. Now let's look at Japan. The voting rates there are consistently pathetic. In the most recent general election, even with a landslide victory for the new prime minister, less than 50% of the eligible population even bothered to show up at the polls. Think about that. More than half the country stayed home. Why? Because most people simply don't believe in the process anymore. They see the same political families, the same elites, and the same outcomes regardless of who they vote for. In a high IQ society like Japan, the people have realized that the democratic theater doesn't actually change their lives. They've traded political participation for quiet resignation. Germany and France. In 2024 and 2025, we saw massive democratic protests ignored by leaders who used special executive powers to bypass the public will. USA. Do you know the word democracy isn't even in the Constitution? It's a republic designed to limit the power of the majority. Did the Americans ever voted in the recent 2024 presidential election for Trump to do what he did in Venezuela? Was he ever voted in because he said, I will help Israel to attack Iran? No. But what happened? Trump still attacked Venezuela and is stuck now in the war with Iran. In fact, no Americans ever voted any president because they wanted to attack other countries. But magically, all American presidents attacked other countries eventually. So useful is democracy is USA, Canada, 2022. Freezing bank accounts of protesters without a court order. France, 2023. Bypassing parliament to force laws through. South Korea, 2024. Attempting martial law to silence critics. The UK, 2023. Arresting people before a protest even begins. The Netherlands, non-elected judges overruling the people's vote. Now, look at the winners, Singapore and China. They didn't win because they followed a Western political textbook. They won because they are efficient. They prioritized the gold, long-term stability and wealth over the bananas of short-term populist promises. Take Singapore. Decades ago, it was mocked by many in Taiwan as a fake democracy or a fine city with too many rules. But look at the scoreboard now. While Taiwan struggles with gridlock and stagnant wages, Singapore has become the ultimate global hub. It is now the top destination for rich and affluent Taiwanese looking to protect their wealth and their future. They aren't moving there for the vote. They're moving there for the results. And look at China. By focusing on performance over polls, they achieved the impossible, lifting 800 million people out of extreme poverty in record time. They didn't wait for a 51% consensus to build a high-speed rail network or a tech empire. They executed. The lesson? A system is only as good as what it delivers. If your democracy produces noise while their efficiency produces prosperity, which one is actually serving the people? It's not just Singapore and China winning. Look at the UAE, zero democracy, yet it's one of the safest, most futuristic hubs on the planet with 90% citizen satisfaction. Vietnam, a one-party system that has become a global manufacturing powerhouse, growing faster than almost any Western democracy. Qatar used centralized leadership to transform from a desert to a global energy giant in record time. They didn't ask for permission, they focused on execution. If a democracy uses authoritarian tactics when things get tough, why not just choose the system that's actually smart enough to work from the start? Stop grading nations on their labels. Start grading them on their IQ and their output.
Fantastic!